Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this week's Stay Connected webinar. We are so thrilled to have Carrie Gottschalk from UNL Extension with us today, talking about her very popular 10 Minutes to Better Behavior resources that are available for anyone, but for after school staff and people working with youth in after school programs. So I'm going to let Carrie go ahead and take it away. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or she'll give you time to unmute and ask your questions later also if you have some. Again, thanks for joining. I'm Kim Larson with the 21st Century Community Learning Center program, and I'm welcoming you on behalf of our Get Connected Conference Planning Committee. So Carrie, thank you so much for sharing this great resource with us today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And as Kim had mentioned, I'm with Nebraska Extension, and this was truly a collaborative effort, myself and others pulling this together to try and create some type of a resource that spoke to what you could maybe call classroom management. Maybe you call it behavior management. In 4-H, we call it positive youth development. And so just a resource that really speaks to helping support kids in your care. I'm just going to take a few minutes to walk through kind of the background of this resource set, and then to reconnect people with how to access it and as well as how to use it. So we only have a half hour. Anybody who's ever met me before knows that I could just get on I could just hop on my soapbox and I could be off and running and I could talk straight for 30 minutes. I'm going to attempt to not do that today. I know that that can get boring and it's easy to tune out when that happens. So I am going to ask some questions, but I'm also incredibly informal. And so I'm more than happy if you raise your hand, if you unmute, if you throw something in the chat. I want this to be a useful time of your 30 minutes. I know that you're all busy. And so if you're either watching the recording or you're here live, like I said, I want this to be a good use of your half hour. So I will not briefly, I'm going to share screen. So it's not even brief. It's probably more than brief because I'm going to share screen with a couple of bullet points from a PowerPoint, but then I'm also going to share screen when I pull up the videos. I will own that I share screen and use a PowerPoint to keep myself on track. This is selfish. This is all about me because I know that if I don't follow a PowerPoint, heaven knows where I'm going to end up in the next 10, 15 minutes. But I also know that I'm a visual learner and I like to see things just as much as I like to hear them. So if you want to screenshot things or if you want to write down the bullet points for yourself, I mean, that's how I operate. Because I'm like, I'm never going to remember it if I just listen to Kim talk. I know I have to write it down. I know I have to look back at it to remember it. So I don't mean to be impersonal. I would prefer gallery mode. I don't mean this to be super impersonal. So what we know, yes, this entire video series is called 10 Minutes to Better Behavior. It's a bit of a hook. I don't necessarily know that it only takes 10 minutes to create better behavior in any of us, but a bit of a hook there to try and catch attention because each video hovers around 10 minutes. And so there is the kind of sell for that is every video is very short. Some are only 7 or 8 minutes and some might teeter closer to 12. But what do we know? We know, and I'm speaking for all of you, and I'm making some giant assumptions after having spent, give or take, about 30 years in the field myself, working with children, youth, and families. And I have always worked in the arena of working with kids who struggle with positive social skills or aren't necessarily equipped with all of the self-regulation and the social skills that they need in all of the settings that they are exposed to. So what do we know? We know that all the staff that we hire do not have the skills that they need to support the kids that they are supporting. So that's a double whammy in the sense that we know kids are struggling with their own set of challenging deficits, I'll call them. They have social skill deficits and they don't necessarily either have the skill or they don't have access to that skill when they need it most. And on top of that, we hire staff that aren't equipped to, they don't have the skill set themselves. And so it's a bit of a, like I said, it's a bit of a double whammy. So I call it a parallel process. And so what I mean by that is we as the supervisors and those who are in charge, the administration, we have to teach and support staff in areas that they don't know and do well, so that our staff are equipped to be able to support and teach the youth in skills that they don't know or do well. And so really, we have, like I said, two things happening here. You know what? This is just hilarious. My family's locked out of my house and they're calling me to try and let them in. I'm busy. I'm on a Zoom. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so moving towards success. This process takes time for everyone. It takes time for administration. It takes time for staff. It takes time for students. So as I said, 10 minutes to better behavior is a bit of a hook. We actually can't do this in just a blurb. We can't do this in a handout. We can't do this in one experience. We also recognize where I said I just kind of said that's a little bit redundant, but therefore it also takes time. So there's a repetition. I could teach Kim one type of positive youth development skill, one type of social skill to her if she's working with youth and after school, but then Kim needs practice in that for her to feel confident and comfortable to deliver that to the kids she's supporting. And the kids need time, repeated exposure to be able to start to feel more competent and comfortable themselves. So it's a bit of this double time thing. So I didn't say that very well, pardon me. I got distracted by the fact that my family's trying to get into the house that's locked. So this process also needs to be rewarding and feel good. In all sincerity, behaviors are hard. I'm going to pull that up a little bit later. They're sticky, they're messy, they create a lot of feelings. When kids are misbehaving, we get frazzled, we get up in our feelings, they're up in their feelings. And so when we approach behavior management, and I don't even necessarily like that word, I like positive youth development way better. I don't like to say behavior management. It implies as if we are attempting to control everybody, but yes, there is an element of accountability. We are the adults in charge. And so therefore, yes, it is our responsibility to help youth know the rules and know the expectations and be able to be in those expectations successfully. So it should be rewarding for our staff and it should be rewarding for our students. That's not fluffy. That's not soft. I've working with all of you who work with youth, I think we all have dove into the research deep enough and long enough. And I think we've been in the field. We know that it's always better when it's a positive versus a negative. We are always going to get more traction. Staff are going to be more successful when they feel supported and when they feel reinforced and when they feel that they're doing something well. Students are going to be more successful and they're going to do better when they feel supported, when they feel that they're doing something well. So the positive always works better than the negative. So we need to definitely keep that in mind as we're moving forward through this better behavior series. Another thing then to mention is that obviously behaviors are hard. It's not black and white. It is not just do one thing and it works. We know that we might have mastered something and then a different student with a different concern throws us a curveball and we feel like we're at ground zero again. We feel like we were just making progress and all of a sudden we walked backwards 10 steps. Or we feel like last year it was going so well and this year I'm stumbling all over the place. Or, who knows what. So it's constantly a moving target and it's constantly moving target. And so just because this strategy works for this child doesn't mean it works for the other kids. Just because today went well doesn't mean tomorrow's going to go well. So that's, I think, particularly why, for all of the different reasons, this particular topic, I'll come off for just a second, is so complex for a couple different reasons. One, if I'm the staff that you hired and I don't know how to do this well, I feel bad. And I feel insecure and I feel incompetent. And then I stumble and I probably do things poorly. So then I may or may not get criticism from those around me, my colleagues around me, the parents who are picking up those kiddos, or maybe my supervision. So I just start to feel worse and worse and worse about the job I'm doing because I'm feeling more incompetent. Feelings are always getting involved. Kiddos who come to our program are in the exact same boat. Maybe they have been successful during the school day and then they just crash and burn when they get to your program. different set of expectations, different set of adults in charge, different set of peers around me, all the things. And so now as a student in your care, they're feeling more insecure and more incompetent. They're struggling, they're floundering. And the more they feel bad, the more they get in trouble, the worse they do, because their feelings got in the way for them too. So it really just becomes this really awful snowball that rolls in on itself. So the goal of this video series is to interrupt that with some kind of resource to support everybody, to support you, to support your staff, to support your students. I'm going to come back to the screen share for just a second. Okay. So bite-sized, 10 minutes to better behavior. It's all little tiny bite-sized. If I come into your program as a staff member and I don't know anything about classroom management, I cannot take it all in one giant 2-hour training. It will never work. It will not all stick. I will have the best of intentions. I'll walk into a classroom with 20 kids and I will fail miserably. Hands down. There's no way I can remember all of that information and apply it when I'm in the moment. I have a colleague of mine, when she goes into difficult conversations, she says they're hot conversations. She calls them hot. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of like that verbiage because it just implies some feeling for me. So we can't do that to our staff. We can't just dump it all on and be like, hey, good luck. I hope you do all of this tomorrow. No, they're not going to. So we need to take it in little bite-sized approaches. We ourselves know this about us, and we know this about everyone else. People do best when they have the opportunity to learn it, to see it. I already said I'm a hugely visual person. And so I don't want you to just tell me about a skill like, hey, it's a really great idea if you make a visual schedule. I'll kind of look at you and nod. I'm like, yeah, okay. I have no idea what that even looks like. And even if I do know what it looks like, I don't know what to do with it. Great. I made a visual schedule. Like maybe I love Canva and I went in and I made a really killing, like rocking it visual schedule. I'm like, man, this is the best thing I've ever seen or best thing I've ever made. I don't know what to do with this. What else to do with this? So I need a chance to learn it. I need a chance to see it in action. I need a chance to see somebody else doing a visual schedule, because otherwise I don't know. I need a chance to practice it. And ideally, I want a chance to practice it in safety. So I would rather watch someone else do it. And maybe safety for me is practicing it in front of youth with nobody else like watching me, so I don't feel judged because, you know, they're kids. They don't know that I'm doing it right or wrong. Or maybe I really want a chance to sit in an office with the door closed and walk through this with Kim, because she's someone safe for me. And I know that as a safe adult in my space, I can like, all right, Kim, I need a chance to practice this before I start doing this with 20 first graders. And then I need a chance to actually put it into practice and apply it. So I'm going to have in my brain, I really want to use a visual schedule because I know that that's going to help the students I'm working with. That's going to help kids better. So now I need a time. I need time to know that I'm going to do this visual schedule Monday through Friday, and then I'm going to check back in with Kim at the end of the week. So I just dumped a lot on you there where I say bite-sized, and then people need a chance to learn it, see it, practice it, apply it. And then that parallel process comes back in. This applies to kids. Kids need a chance to learn it. Hey, what do you mean you want us to line up against the wall? They need a chance to see it. Oh, this is what it means to line up against the wall with my hand on the spot that's marked, or with the little feet markers on the floor and stand where the feet markers are. I need a chance to practice it. Don't expect me to magically master it because you told me about it, or you verbally said, this is what we're going to do. Whether I'm 10 or whether I'm 45, I kind of need a chance to practice it. Let me walk over to the wall, put my feet on the marker spot, put my hand on the wall, be like, all right, now I got it. I tried it on for size and I got comfortable in it. And then I need that repetition, that opportunity over and over and over again to apply it. So always a parallel process. Finally, people do best when they have the opportunity to review it and be reinforced by it. And I'll call that a reminder. So I want to be able to receive a reminder over and over and over again. One of the more ridiculous examples that always pops into my brain, and yet it seems to just resonate, is if any of you are parents out there and you have raised children who are now maybe adolescents, and you were teaching them to do basic hygiene things like take a shower, wash your hands, brush your teeth. Hopefully you're all starting to kind of smile to yourselves because you know that wasn't a one and done. You started probably brushing your child's teeth before they were 2. And you do that potentially twice a day from the time they are babies or at least toddlers up and through, well, the rest of your life. So how many of you have still asked your adolescent in your home, hey, Michael, did you brush your teeth? Like when we hear it said back to ourselves like that, we're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, of course my child knows to brush their teeth. I've been telling them twice a day to brush their teeth for the past 12 years. And yet here I am still saying, hey, Michael, did you brush your teeth? And they're like, oh, no. And then they run back downstairs and brush their teeth. It's hilarious and real. So from that perspective, even if your students know it, even if your students have had a chance to see it, practice it, review it, being reinforced for it, it doesn't mean that you stop doing it. It means that every day from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year, you're offering an opportunity to be reinforced for this skill, and you're still practicing it and putting it into play. Okay, just a few more bullet points, and then I'm going to stop for real. It's 12:17. Okay, finally, here, oh, you know what? No, I want to do this first, and then I'll go to the videos. Okay, so here are some possible applications to this whole 10 minutes to better behavior. Number one, I understand that there's a chance you are hiring staff all throughout the year. So you might have hired staff leading into August, and you might have done a lot of preparation and staff development in July or maybe early August. And that's when you do your whole staff training. So if you sit with that for just a moment, the recognition is I trained everybody at the beginning of the year, but based on everything Carrie just said in the past 5 minutes, 10 minutes, staff need a chance to be reviewed constantly or be in review constantly. Staff need to be reinforced constantly. Students need to review constantly and be pre-taught constantly. Students need a chance to be reinforced constantly. So just because I did it in August, we all know doesn't mean we're done. Okay, great. Absolutely. So I'm doing this with staff all throughout the year, and then staff are doing this with students all throughout the year. Additionally, we know that staff turnover, and you might have hired a staff in October. You might hire a new staff member in January. We all know that that's real life, and they just get thrown in. They didn't get all the prep time in August that you had with the bulk of your staff. And that's just such a hard space for all of you to be in. So what you could do is upon hiring staff, don't just have them watch all the videos. Again, that's drinking from a water hose. They're never going to take it all in. They'll never do it all. But pick the 2 that make the most sense to you. Maybe the 3, the ones that you know those kids are going to need, the ones that staff member is going to need. So then you might say, hey, great, Brandon, we're happy to have you on staff. Thanks for joining us. Before you start on Monday, I need you to watch these 3 videos, and you and I'll talk for 30 minutes before you see kids on what you gained from those videos. And then you have a notes and a little mini teaching session yourself one-on-one with them. So that way you can tailor it and specialize it to what Brandon's walking into, the kids he's going to be working with, and Brandon's really going to need to know A, B, and C. So I need him to watch those videos before he even starts. So that could be one application of this set of videos. Another application of this set of videos is really just to build it into your staff meeting. I think there are 16. I will own that they can all be better. Julie and I joked, and Julie's like, dude, mine need to be remade. And I just watched one of mine, and I'm like, oh, girlfriend, mine need to be remade. like we know these are not professionally done. These are colleagues and I sitting in front of a camera recording ourselves on Zoom. They're not the best. And so, yeah, we think that these could certainly be boosted up, but nonetheless, it's something, it's a place to start. And so you could say, well, every time we have a staff meeting, we're going to watch one of these videos. Or if you have staff meetings weekly and you meet all year, you could have one that you use and study for 2 straight weeks, and then another one that you use and study for 2 weeks. And that way you're like, I'm covered all year. I'm doing a behavior video every staff meeting for the rest of the year, because that's how important this is. And it's never redundant. It's never too repetitive. Nobody can be reminded enough of this content. So we could just build it in that way. And I will also say that every video has homework built in it. So I'll show that as well. So teach it during the staff meeting, have a small group experience where you're discussing it. Small groups get to practice or apply what they want it to look like over the next week. You come back a week later, you review it from the previous week, you troubleshoot, you problem solve, and you apply it again for a second week. I mean, honestly, that's like magic. Everyone is getting 2 straight weeks of review and practice of this one content, and they're supporting each other because they're all in it together. Amazing. If you have people gifted in that content, pair them up with somebody who's struggling. And now you've got internal peer mentors going on. So that would be another application of how to build this into your program. And then finally, a third application would just simply be to do some one-on-one mentoring with staff who are really struggling. So if you do have staff who are either the kiddos are really struggling or that staff member is really struggling or both, whatever, then you could just do some one-on-one mentoring. So you pick the videos that are most relevant and you are applying those. Hey, just a little extra homework before you leave today, watch this video, hang on for an extra 20 minutes, watch the video for 10, we'll talk for 10, we'll connect again tomorrow and see how it's going. So 3 applications for that. So I'm gonna stop screen sharing for that. I'm gonna breathe. It's 12:22. I told you I could do that. And I'm gonna share screen to the videos now. And I want to show that for just 3 minutes, and that'll still give us a couple minutes for questions or comments. So let me share a different screen. We did move them. They used to be housed at a different location at UNL or Extension, but we've had some IT changes on our end. I think they got lost for a bit, not lost from us, but lost from access for a bit. And so our staff here at Extension was kind enough. Everyone said, let's just put it on YouTube. They're the easiest to access on YouTube, but they are not public. Like, they're not private. So anyone with the link can use them. But if you Google in YouTube 10 minutes to better behavior, they're not going to come up. You can't find them without the link because they're not professional. I don't really know that, like, here at Extension, we're uber proud of having our name on them. I mean, we are proud of having our name on them, but you know what I mean? Like, this is not super high quality. And so we thought, well, we don't just want them out there for everyone to find, but we do want you guys to have access to them. If we decide to find some grant money and do like a super awesome job at them, then yeah, then we could totally go public with them. So as long as you have the link and the QR code, you can find them. They're all put in a playlist. Yay. They are not in any order. Okay. So there's no predetermined order that you need to go through them in this order. No, the only one that you'll see absolutely has an order is you'll see it says transitions part 2, because I could not do transitions in 10 minutes. So I have transitions and then I have transitions part 2. Well, obviously that one speaks for itself. Do those in order. Otherwise, it's talking about rules. If you don't have classroom rules, talking about pre-teaching, the concept of pre-teaching social skills, not pre-teaching a field trip, but pre-teaching how to take turns, pre-teaching how to wait patiently, pre-teaching how to accept a no answer. And then we've got some really great ones that just talk about positive youth development, that just talk about the idea of what mastery looks like or learning style. So there's some that are really just meant to increase your staff's competence in this domain, this area of space. And others are application that says, hey, my kids lose their minds going from one thing to the next, and we need to like get this nonsense under control. Well, transition. So you would want to watch those videos. So one more thing in the 1 more minute that I have is when you do watch the videos, and see, this is how bad it is. I didn't even put my PowerPoint on like show PowerPoint. You can see all the slides, so whatever. It's all for you. So here at like minute 8.5, because you can see I went a little long. This one's 11 minutes. At minute 8.5, we always, Julie and I both at the end said, here's what you need to do. Here's how you need to apply it. I didn't just talk to you about pre-teaching for 8.5 minutes. Now I want you to do something about pre-teaching. So please go apply it. So if you're using it in a staff meeting, or if you want someone to get better at this skill, you have a way to hold them accountable because you know what they should be doing by applying this lesson. Think of a difficult part of your day and figure out how you're going to pre-teach it starting tomorrow, because now you're going to pre-teach snack every day for the next 10 days, but figure out how you want to pre-teach snack, because maybe that's the part of your day that's the most harried or the most frustrating. Okay, wow, see, look at that, 12:25, and I could just keep talking. One more share screen. I'm going to put the PowerPoint up in case you want to grab. Kim shared it, so you guys have access to this. It will always be available via 21st Century. It's got a web link. It's got a QR code. Here's where they are. Now, I will actually stop. We have 4 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? My family, I don't know what they did. I don't know if they're sitting in their car. They might be milling about outside. Who knows?
Well, we appreciate you paying attention to us while your family's out in a blizzard, knocking on the door.
They're not little children. They're fine.
And they brush their teeth.
That's right. And I'm sure they've all brushed their teeth today.
Does anybody have questions for Carrie? Carrie, this, I wish we had a lot more time with you. Maybe we can get you to come back and do a part 2 for us sometime.
Hey, Carrie, is there any way we could get, I was only able to grab the link. This is Sandy Day. I was only able to grab the link on my phone from the QR code. Can somebody pop it in the chat so I can bring it up on my laptop and bookmark it?
You bet. I've got it pulled up right now.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you. This was excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And your tips are really, really beneficial also for how to use the videos. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, everybody.
Any questions for Carrie? We have her for a few more minutes. If anybody that's joining the webinar today has used the resources, you can feel free to speak up as well. Well, Carrie, we will post the recording to this webinar on the Stay Connected site, and we'll include the QR code and the link with the recording. And then if there's a better place where we can post all that down the road, we'll do that as well.
Absolutely.
Well, before we let people leave today, the Beyond School Bells group has an announcement about some resources that are available for summer. So Dakota or Stephanie, I'm not sure. One of you want to?
I can jump in. Yeah.
There we go.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Hi, Dakota.
Good to see you. And thank you, Carrie. It was a wonderful presentation. I'm with Beyond School Bells, and we just wanted to communicate. I think many people may have heard, but we have launched our summer grant program in partnership with the Department of Ed. So it's called the Summer of Youth. If you go to beyondschoolbells.org, we have a tab on our page for summer opportunities. Those grants are described on that page. We just wanted to encourage people to check out that website. All ESSER sites, all 21st century sites, and all school-based summer programs are eligible to apply. And I also wanted to note, you'll see in the overview of our summer grant document that we encourage programs to apply with support for student and staff well-being. I think that Carrie's presentation perfectly aligns with that requirement, that support, that detail. So in applications, we would love to see specific plans built into, we're going to incorporate 10 minutes of better behavior. We're going to reach out to partners involved in this network. And if you have those questions, we are also happy to be part of that network and loop you in wherever we can. But please take a look at that website. I think one of my teammates maybe put it in the chat. They did. Thank you, Stephanie. Reach out to us if you have any questions, though. Thank you.
Dakota, do you mind putting your email address in the chat also?
I will do so. It's a great idea.
Thank you.
I might also suggest if anybody is, I mean, the applications are not hard, but if anybody is having any difficulty with them, any of the BSB team here in person, or well, I guess we're not in person. What are we? God only knows. Anyway, we'd be happy to help you. We want to give you this money and we want it to go to a good cause for your youth. So just anything we can do, we will do it.
Well, thank you for your generosity and your support in that application process and implementation. That's really important. Fabulous. Thank you. And then we also wanted to do one more shout out. Our Get Connected After School Conference is coming up on September 22nd. And I should, oh, thanks. Got the website pulled up. It's, I think maybe, oh, Sandy, if someone could throw that link in the chat, I'd really appreciate that. So we have the RFP proposal submissions are now open. You can apply to present a workshop, And also, if you are a community-based organization and want to have a table, we call those our walk and talk tables. The application to have a table is also there. So go ahead and get those submitted. We'd like to have those in by June 13th. Please help us spread the word. If you know somebody, Carrie, who would be a great presenter and it'd be a great session for the conference, we would love to have you submit a proposal, Carrie, and anyone else on the call who has some expertise that they want to share with our after-school audience, program staff, program leaders, community partners. We have some business partners who attend. Please feel free to let us know what you're interested in talking about at the conference. And make sure you save the date to attend, even if you don't want to present a workshop. September 22nd in Omaha at the CHI Conference Center. So we're really excited about that. So if there are no more questions, I really want to thank Carrie for her sharing her expertise and all of you for joining. Have a great day. I don't know if it's blizzarding where you are, but might be time to get out the shovel and continue our day. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.